Over the last few weeks, I've been talking about this need and this requirement for a significant surge to the upside. And well, it appears that Bitcoin has finally had that break upwards and has hit into the $28,000 range. We're going to jump down into the technical analysis on BTC in this video, take a look at what's been going on most recently and what we kind of think is likely to happen next. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, guys, linked in the description below. Let's jump right down into the video. So Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're actually using Binance on this one, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick this over into our BitGet data, as that's one I've been using most recently. There we go. Okay, and so yeah, BitGet is our data source on the 1 hour chart here. As you can kind of see, we've been tracking fair value gaps, and well, should be no surprise that we've seen the price pushing up quite significantly here with more fair value gaps as well. This shows us large orders coming in and creating imbalances in the order books, okay? And so as such, it's important that we understand what that might mean. It means that large funds have come in and have pushed Bitcoin in one particular direction, to the upside. Now, when you see fair value gaps, we have to ask ourselves why they occur, and what do they mean? Right? Why has this suddenly occurred for Bitcoin? And well, it means that large money, smart money, has come in, okay, and they've bought up quite a bit of Bitcoin. And the question that we then ask is, why are they doing this? Well, they're doing this probably because they want to push the price of Bitcoin to the upside and take some liquidity. It's usually almost always about liquidity of some kind. Now, what I don't want to kind of say here is that this isn't giving me any change in my macro thought pattern. Essentially, I'm still bearish at macro level, and it's quite obvious as to why. And the surge to the upside isn't terribly anything unusual. As I said, we had our fifth wave movement to the low side here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a diagonal pattern, and we can see we had to move to the upside. Okay, unless we can break higher than $31,000, let me go ahead and just ping that up here. 30,959.99 according to BitGet, and 31,000 according to Binance, right? So basically 30,959.99. Unless price can go up higher than that, we are still in a bearish structure, in my opinion. Now, we do see here all these fair value gaps. These gaps will, in my opinion, get filled out at some point in time. We are not impulsive on any stretch of the imagination, okay? So we are not looking at this as an impulsive movement. Okay, let's go ahead and take this up to here. We can see we've just about peaked above the 1.236, have not even touched on the 1.382, and only at 29,778 is that likely to be considered a five-wave structure. Okay, and at that point, or to be more specifically, considered impulsive, not even 5 waves. We don't have a structure here that looks impulsive either. Okay, we have zigzag patterns. Let's go ahead and just sense check these whilst we're at it. Right in here, you can see came up to the 1.236, rejected, pushed up again, got rejected, pushed up again, got rejected, right? So we know that we're not hitting 1.618 levels, and there's no 5-wave structure within here. Okay, so there's no 5 waves to start with. Okay, there's no diagonal to start with. There's corrections, and then there's this move up here. So 335 at best. We can see that we are impulsive here. So we can see we have 1, 2, 3, we'll come down for 4, up for 5, and then we're done. Okay, so 335. So unless, of course, we push up higher than 30, I'm just going to call it 31,000 to be more specific. Yeah, it's unlikely that this is going to materialize into anything more than what it is, essentially a pump and then, I believe, dump. Essentially, this is now created liquidity for a certain amount of players to remove themselves from their positions. Okay, it's always usually about the liquidity, and essentially in these gaps here is areas of illiquidity. Okay, so although it's positive to see some green in the market, we've been talking about expecting this. This is almost done, in my opinion, and now we can start that next big move to the downside. Let me show you kind of where my thought pattern is on this. Let's come down into our hourly chart over here. We can see that we are overbought on our daily 8-hour, 4-hour, and we're only just coming down now from our hourly. But this stochastic RSI uses the OHLC4 setting, okay, on the RSI source. Whereas if I come over into our smart money again, you can see that our RSIs come down a little bit faster. If I come into the settings here, you can see that it's on the default close position. Okay, so you get two different stochastic RSI readings here, depending on what what kind of settings you have. I personally prefer the OHLC4, as it uses the average position of every candle for your RSI source, whereas out of the box, the defaults are close, and it uses the close position of every candle for the RSI source. Might sound really minor to many, but it changes the analysis quite somewhat. Now, from a monthly standpoint, you can see that we're just about to go up into overbought. Okay, if I bring this down here, on our monthly time frame, we're going to be in this overbought range. And, well, there's only one place to go once you're overbought, and that is to the downside. Now, you can be up here for quite some time. It's not terribly too difficult to kind of see that occur, but we should be concerned that momentum is not on our side at these macro levels. You can also see on the BitGet data on the monthly that there are a couple of fair value gaps. And now this might shock people, but look at that. There'll be a new lower low down here in order to fill this gap. This gap coming in at 14,094 to 17,529. This is on BitGet data. If I come on over and take this over into Binance, you can actually see a gap down here as well. It does change it ever so slightly. Okay, pull that on. It's 14,100 to 17,572. So we know that there's going to be an expectation to the downside here, where we look for a new lower low to fill out the fair value gap. We tapped into it once and we moved on up. Now, if I bring this over into our daily time frame, just bring this a little bit bigger. Okay, we can see that we've got the first fair value gap on the daily time frame. We've got another new one created here yesterday, and we've still got these ones coming down here a little bit deeper in the price chart. So it doesn't look like there's terribly too much to kind of be thinking positively about at the moment. It looks like we have more room to the downside than we do have to the upside. Now, on that note, we can obviously note that we've come up and we're still fighting around the supply range. We've tested the 200 EMA, we've bounced up here, we've just gone past the 50 EMA, that's looking short-term bullish, and we're still, within our bearish channel here. Okay, so on our daily time frame, it's not looking amazingly brilliant. We are still within our channel of bearishness, as in higher highs and higher lows. They will break down. Still possible that we rally on up. Of course, we have got our fair value gap, not a fair value gap, our CME gap. If I bring that up here, a little bit higher in the price chart, that comes in at 34,455 to 35,180. Again, I'm not expecting us to push up to that range. I'm still expecting that 31k range to hold. And if I actually go and throw this on here, you can see it's 31,200 USD on the CME futures chart. So yeah, two CME gaps, one down here at the 20,000 to 21,000, and then 34 to 35,000 at the higher end. Right now, prices are looking too great. Now, the other thing that's worth noting, if I bring this now over to the Binance data here, is that we were talking about the idea of a potential bullish setup on some of these timeframes. And I think that's where we currently find ourselves. So we had ourselves here the lower highs and the lower lows, and we've just broken out of here. Okay, you can see now that the stochastic RSI is bouncing around a bit, and we're overbought on the monthly. Okay, overbought on the daily, overbought on the 20, 16, 12, 8, 4-hour timeframes. Right, the weekly is oversold, right? So there's room on the weekly chart here, but it doesn't actually have to do terribly too much, right? And so we want to be a little bit cautious because momentum is not in our favor here. And we've seen a few interesting things and interesting developments recently with Bitcoin moving around. So just be really cautious. It's great to see some green in the market, but I don't think it's going to be very long-lived. Could be wrong on that, but that's my expectations are that essentially this is going to have a small push upwards, but not exceed 31k, and then break on down from there. That's going to be my expectation. Lots of fair value gaps that have been created. It doesn't give me much confidence either. Essentially, that is, in my opinion, just a manipulation in the market being visibly shown through fair value gaps as price is unnaturally being pushed to the upside, as in there's not much much in the way of liquidity, so they're pushing the price to where liquidity is. And essentially that creates this kind of buzz and this FOMO for people, but it doesn't give me much confidence slightly longer term. As I said, looks like we completed a diagonal structure. A bounce to the upside is something that we were talking about expecting, and within the Discord and within our members, they've been kind of, dollar cost averaging and buying into positions. And this is that swing and the opportunities that are kind of, to now the downside. So it's got to be time to consider what to do with the positions of things that we have been buying at the lower prices at the swing lows. Now we are visiting the swing highs. I'm going to leave the video right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, linked in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to risk your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.